5 kids to tell about it, and
I'm Steve Novotny. I'm the dad behind 24/7 Moms.
behind the fact that you have 5 kids.
Behind the Novotny family, who happens to be a special guest today on the Mommin Daily Show with Trisha Novotny.
We should give you a better way to how to introduce yourself.
I know, I don't have a little survived 5-kid thing.
I know, you need a little tagline. See, it works. Hey, we are excited to be back here with you this morning. And today we thought, hey, let's talk about lessons from the lockdown or lessons from the quarantine. We have been now on 6 weeks of what they title in the state of Washington, stay home, stay safe. I like to call it the family lockdown. Most people call it quarantine. I don't know. What do you call it?
I call it shutting down society, but we're coming out of it. And I think some of it was, you know, we didn't know what to expect in this whole quarantine. So we kind of did what I call the throw mud on the wall formula, where you're just trying to figure out what sticks and what works. And this was the best thing that we knew to do, was just to shut down society for a little bit. And now we're realizing that, well, we can't keep society shut down. People got to work.
Well, I think when we first went into it on week 1, I don't think anyone thought it would be more than 14 days. I feel like we went into it. We thought the kids would be out of school for a couple weeks. We thought restaurants would close, nail salons. I mean, like all the businesses that were shut down. People would go home and work for a couple of weeks. No one ever imagined that many schools across the country would be shut down for the entire year. My sister just posted yesterday that she is on stay-at-home working until October, and she's in the state of Florida.
No way.
Yeah, they said she's thrilled about it, because when she was in California working for the same company, she worked at home, and then when she moved to Florida, she had to work in the office. So she loves working at home. She doesn't have all the distractions, blah, blah, blah. It's great, right? But I don't think anyone imagined that. No one imagined that colleges in California would be going online next school year.
Right.
I mean, who would have imagined this life, right? So when we think about this stay-at-home, quarantine, family lockdown, stay safe, I know everyone's getting a little cabin feverish. Everyone's kind of wanting to jump out there.
It's happening, yeah.
I was in Target yesterday, and it was interesting because I've been to Target several times since all this happened. And each time I go, they have new policies that they are putting in to even create it to be more safe. Now, when I walked into Target, you had to completely walk straight. Usually you can walk in, and most Targets you can turn in, there's the registers. Yeah. They have it all blocked now, and they want you to walk straight through the store and not, so that there's not cross traffic right now. They want you to go this direction so that everyone coming this way is only coming towards the registers. And they have employees standing there. I thought that was really interesting.
Well, we're going to find that there's all kinds of new things that are going to come out of this.
Yeah, plexiglass in front of everything.
Yeah. Which is part of what we're going to talk about, is one of the things that we're discovering coming out of quarantine.
Right.
That, like last weekend is the first weekend in the whole shutdown they saw an uptick in air travel.
Oh, really?
And they were saying that the flights are starting to get full because they haven't added new flights yet.
Oh,
they've taken off 80% of the airplanes flying in the air are literally mothballed right now.
Well, have you seen a girlfriend of mine is a flight attendant, and she sent a picture in Oregon of all the airplanes just parked.
Yeah.
Not moving.
Yeah,
they're just all out
they're
in the field.
starting to come back out. And then, I don't know if you read this, but Apple is monitoring iPhones across the world. I know that sounds weird. Huh? They're not monitoring your conversations, but they're monitoring traffic.
Oh,
and
really?
They saw for the first weekend that iPhones were starting to travel leisurely this weekend.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's really
interesting. So we are coming out of the closet, if you a little bit, on being hunkered down in quarantine.
Right. Okay, so what are some of the lessons that we as a family, personally Steve and I, have learned? I think the first one that we have had to remind ourselves and our kids is, it's not about you. This whole thing isn't about you. It's not about you. It's about everybody else. It's about us protecting other people, right? Like, I don't wear a mask because I fear for me getting sick, or I fear I'm getting somebody else sick, because I don't feel sick, right? I feel perfectly healthy. But I'm wearing it because I'm doing it for others. I don't know if the person that I happen to pass in Target or Costco is fighting cancer right now and in treatments and is super susceptible to getting sick. And maybe I have anything, not even the COVID. I could have something else, and I could be passing it to them just because I talked or I spoke or I breathed or whatever. And so it's not about me. It's not about me saying, gosh, I really need to not go to all these stores, or I need to limit what I'm doing, or limiting our kids, right? Like when this first started, that was the toughest part in our house, was having teenagers and telling them, yeah, no, you can't go hang out with your friends.
You know, it's interesting with masks because, I don't know, I feel like when I wear a mask, I lose my personality. Is that weird? I mean, I feel like I'm hiding, you know?
You are hiding.
I know, and I get it. I always have a mask with me. Sometimes I don't wear it. Full disclosure. I mean, but I'm trying to where it's required, or there's a lot of people, I'm very respectful and put it on. But sometimes at Home Depot, man, I'm just running in and running out. But I'm making sure I'm keeping my distance, that's for sure.
I put mine on most times unless I have forgotten. I panicked yesterday because I was going to Costco and I got there and I thought, oh no, where's my mask? Where's my mask? And I found it in my car. Because I thought, oh great, I'm going to have to go all the way home. Anyway, so it's not about you. We are doing many of these things because we respect and we care about others. And so by caring about others is why we've chosen to stay home, is why we choose to wear a mask, is why we're choosing to keep ourselves healthy and fit, is because we want to stay healthy so that we keep other people healthy around us. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I think as a family here, we continue to try and follow certain guidelines and try to, through these last 6 weeks, to follow some of those things and to be careful so that we're caring about others and not just thinking about ourselves. And what a great thing to model to our children, right? That this is not about them. It's not about them thinking, well, they're fine. Why can't they go hang out with their friends? Why can't
the
they?
hardest thing for our teenagers has been that because they want to break free and then they're officially out of school. We have a senior graduating. Right. Well, he found it in March. He's graduated. Right. That's the weirdest deal. I mean, they've lost all of their fun end of school year events, their proms,
Well, and the first couple of weeks was really hard because everyone was on really strict quarantine, right? So we've all kind of let up a little bit and they hang out with a certain group of kids. But they were going to work and they were coming home and they were just going crazy because they wanted to hang out. I kept teasing them, hey, nobody else gets to live with their best friend because our son's best friend lives with us. And you're like, no one else got another buddy with them, you know, and can drive in the same car and go get food and do things. So we've had to find things that they can do. But again, teaching them, it's not about them. This is about them being protecting of other people. So that's the first thing. The second thing is date nights.
Yes, we have found a whole new way. Well, we've always tried to do date nights. That's been something that's been probably a hallmark of our marriage. We've always decided, hey, one night a week, we do our best. Without kids, if possible. You know, we had brand new babies. Sometimes that was not possible. But that we go out and have a time together to go do a date night. Go out to eat dinner. But we found you can't go out to eat any restaurant. Right. So we just said, you know, this is happening big in our little community. We go to this favorite park we like. We go to different parks, but this is one we tend to frequent. It's right on the water of where we live in our cute little town. And they have a restaurant next door that she loves, which is pizza and some salad. And there's a restaurant that I love, which is your classic Mexican shouldn't have to eat it meal. But it's so good. And then we sit in the park and we meet a couple friends at times.
We literally get a big table like this and we each sit on a corner of it, like away from each other, right?
Yeah.
Like Steve will sit across from me because we live together so we can breathe each other's air better. And they sit across and we are able to converse with them. But we have discovered this whole takeout thing, right? Like I know restaurants have done takeout, but they haven't done it to this level, right? Like every restaurant in our town that's open obviously is doing takeout right now because you cannot sit in the restaurants. And so many of them shut down for a few days, figured out what they were going to do and how they were going to do takeout. And now you can get these takeout meals. Some have reduced menus, but still you can take out. And I'm like, we're loving this, like picking up our food and going to a park, or we've even on a quiet night when it's been quiet here, we've picked up food and brought it home and eaten it. And I'm liking this new way. And I said to my husband, I wonder if when this is over and restaurants open back up, if many of us, when the weather's nice, we'll continue to just pick up our food and go eat it at restaurants. We never did that before. I mean, of course, picking up certain foods and eating them in parks like Subways or whatever, that's been a norm, right? But going to the Mexican restaurant and picking up your Mexican food, your chips and your salsa and stuff, and sitting at a park, that's never been a norm for us. And so that's now, you know, part of
I remember I told you how much I was really enjoying it. I mean, do I want to sit in a cramped up restaurant?
Yeah.
Now with, you know, the
Touching
people
their
before
sticky.
me touching all that stuff, which I get that. I mean, I'm not saying we won't ever do that again, but it was so nice to be in the park. I thought, I'm having the best meal I've ever had, and they did a great job keeping it warm and sealing it up. And I think that's going to be a big change for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's going to become the new norm.
Yeah.
Even one night, it was cold. We just bundled up and put jackets on. And for me, I don't like to be cold, but I still enjoyed it. And so,
because we prepared for it.
Yeah, we were prepared.
Yeah.
So anyways, so date nights. Number 3, we get to do this attitude. Having the we get to do this rather than,
I have to.
I have to do this. This is awful. Having the negatives of all. Yep, there's so many horrible, terrible things about this, right? Like the economy, losses of jobs, health. You know, if you've had the virus, or there's just so many things that are terrible about it. But if we can stop and look at the things of that we get to this, what are the positives of doing this?
Right.
And that we get to do this,
right?
And what can we do during this time? I think that just changes. That for me, I began that at the very beginning, thinking I get to do this. I get to have 10 people in my house cooking. I get to have people roaming my house all day long. I get noise here all day versus when the kids were at school and people were at work. And now that's totally changed for me. And so I started saying to myself, I get to do this. I get to have community with my family. I'll never get this opportunity again. I mean, it'll be really surprising if we're ever for this many days and weeks and months together as a family, being that our kids are married and adults, you know. And so it's been a great get to opportunity for me. That's how I have faced it.
No, I think it's a whole way you look at your life. But you know, what are you going to do? Here you are, right? You have to make the best of it. Mm-hmm. And that's what a person who wants to be an overcomer does. They figure out how to make lemons out of lemonade. And we get to do this. We get to get through this. This gives us great opportunity, which I think leads us to our next point we should probably talk about. And that is that you have to learn to be flexible and you learn to be adaptable. Yeah. And we have really learned that. We're going to find so many businesses. I just read this article that there are going to be companies like Uber that have just been waiting for an opportunity to do something, not Uber itself, but companies that would start like Uber that we're going to see arise from this pandemic. For sure. Because a lot of people,
needs.
And they said a lot of people have been laid off of these high-tech jobs because they hire so many because they almost like hoard intelligence and hoard people, that now they've been laid off, and these people think, well, heck, we've been talking about this idea for so long. Right. Let's create a company called Pied Piper, you know, which is kind of spoof off a Silicon Valley show. But anyway, learn to be flexible and adaptable. What can you do now in the current situation you're in?
I think we're going to see a lot more delivery services than we already were seeing, which is great. But also at the same time, I was reading an article, and it was a kind of a little story of a daughter talking to her mother who was older, saying, Mom, I'm going to come over. I'm going to teach you how to order your groceries, and you can have your groceries delivered and yada, 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 and all these different things. I'm going to teach you how to bank online. I'm going to teach you things. She looked at her daughter and said, why would I want to do that? And she's like, well, Mom, for the convenience. And this wasn't about the COVID. This was just about the convenience of it and keeping her at home more often and not having to go out. And she's like, but I enjoy going to the bank where they know my name. I enjoy going to the grocery store when I can run into Susie, who I haven't seen in 3 months, and we can have a conversation about how her daughter's doing. And I enjoy that when I walk in the door, they know my name. They know what I'm going to order. They know the coffee drink that I want. They know this.
Right.
That's part of my life. That's my connecting.
Right.
And that's the thing I hope we don't lose in all of this, is that we start getting to be where we have everything delivered. We do eat. We do takeout. We don't go places and actually connect with others anymore.
We're going to do that. We're going to connect. I mean, this is personality driven. Like, I'm not going to connect with people. No, I need to connect with people. And so I think we'll still have some of that.
Right.
But yet to be seen how that all lays out.
Yeah, but nobody ever imagined that a cell phone would take up would keep your face in a screen, right? Nobody ever imagined that. So I'm just saying it'll be interesting to see what things come out of this. But when we talk about flexibility and adaptable, that's what we had to do here at 24/7 Moms, which is why we're back live again, right? Like we realize, hey, moms are home, people are home, they have time, so let's go back and do our show again. And
Right.
rather than information on our website, which we still are producing and it's still going out there, we're also producing these shows so that
Right.
moms have the ability to feel like they're connecting with somebody out there right now, right? And then the other thing that we did was we knew that there were all these kids being sent home from school. And suddenly there was this huge need and huge freak out in the mom world, right? Of
Yeah.
like, I've got to school my children. So we quickly launched our new Facebook group. What's it called? School's closed. Sorry,
School
school's closed.
closure.
Survival for moms.
Yeah.
And quickly started gathering information and putting it on there and posting it and allowing all of you to post all your fun things that you have found as well, and tips and ideas and just things that make us laugh and recipes and things that get us through the day, right? To support you as moms. And so that's how we became flexible and adaptable here at 24/7 Moms was, what are the needs? Then we had our big Moms Night Out, which sometimes I'm thinking, man, maybe we should do that once a month, have a Moms Night Out once a month where we come together and
Yeah.
we talk, because we had so much fun connecting together.
You had some really good engagement with several,
it was really great.
moms.
And so those are the ways we've become flexible and adaptable here as 24/7 Moms, but we've had to do that in our home as well, become flexible and adaptable.
And I think
to other
our
people.
young children will probably go to school in the fall, meaning elementary age. But like we're right now talking about this with our senior who's a graduate, and we're hearing different announcements from schools around the United States how they're going to start
Right.
classes online in the fall. Currently his is going to be starting as open for business,
Right.
but one of the other big schools in our state said they're starting in the fall. So
Right.
we're saying, hey, maybe you need to be flexible and adaptable and register right now for another college. So if that does happen, that you have the majority of that
Plan
stuff
B.
prepared.
We've got to figure out what Plan B is for
have
these
your
kids,
Plan
right?
B, and that's a good
Yeah.
strategy that we're
Because
learning.
we
on
have
this.
two seniors in our house, and they're both super, super excited about going to college. Like, this is all they've been talking about all year, right? And now, all of a sudden, there's that possibility that the doors might be shut and it's online. And they're not big online students. They're just not. Both of them have done online this year, and it's not, they really are social. They need people. They want to be around people. They want to live in dorms. They want to do all those things that college students
They want to be
do.
adults.
Yeah.
They want to
And
do
so,
adulting.
I'm just looking at like what can we do if this does happen? If they do go online, what are their other options of ways that we can help them to still grow in this season, at the same time go along with the way the colleges are going? So learning to be flexible and adaptable, that's something we're learning. Okay, it's okay to ask for help is my next one that I've learned. Meaning, I'm going to do it myself person. I'm going to get it done. I can take care of it. I can clean the house. I can do the grocery shop. I can do all that. Well, trying to keep up with 24/7 Moms and the new things that we started here, my life didn't slow down. His life didn't slow down. We own apartments. We own management. Those things were still essential. So he still was going to work every day. I was still keeping up with things, but suddenly we had more people in the house, which meant more dirt in the house, meant more trips to the grocery store, more trips to Costco, just meant a lot more going on, right?
Right.
And so we began asking our kids for more help. Like, okay, we need you to help with the vacuuming, you to help with the laundry, you to help with the shopping. So we've learned that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, hey, can you go run to Costco and get the Costco things? Can you be the one that vacuums this week, or the one that empties the dishwasher this week? And, and it's okay to ask for help. And the other thing I've noticed, people around me are posting things on Facebook. In our neighborhood Facebook group, I've seen people post, I'm at Costco, does anybody need anything? It's okay to offer help too. It's okay to say, hey,
not just ask for help, but be willing to go the extra mile for,
and what can I do for
people and things. And that can be difficult at times, especially when households are cramped in quarters and everyone gets a little bit selfish, a little bit on edge.
One of my girlfriends, she's even picked up things from me, right? Like, she's seen things and known I'm gonna need extra Lysol wipes, so she comes across them, she'll snag them for me too, because I'm not able to get to those stores early in the morning like she is. And so working together and asking people for help, it's okay to do that. We need help. We should be in that area of community with each other that we can ask for help for things.
Well, which brings us to the other point in all that asking for help, and that is something that you're really good at, and that is being prepared. We've learned through this process, or I should say she's even learned better than I can attest to, but about being prepared for when things do happen. How do you get ready for when those situations that are going to take place?
Because when you're not prepared, then all of a sudden you panic, right? And so then you go into this panic mode, and then you just start buying things and stocking up on things that maybe you won't even need. I love Costco has this sign that says, "We will not take returns on toilet paper, rice, paper towels, Lysol wipes." And like, because everyone took them and hoarded them, right?
I
Like,
still don't
they were
get all
gone.
that. Like, there was never this toilet paper shortage where we
Right. Well, the
can't-
news said something about, we were gone. We were out of the country when that happened. And then we came back and we're like, what happened to the toilet paper? I went to Costco. I'm like, what's going on? And finally I asked somebody and they said, oh, you didn't hear it on the news? And so, there was that. Then there's been the big meat thing, right? And then
the Lysol wipes.
right, and just everything's gone.
Yeah.
And so my whole point in being prepared that I've learned is that because I already was prepared, not because I was ever thinking we're going to have a pandemic and I was going to need all these things, but in my life, I always think I can save time if I already have the next, case of toilet paper ready to go versus having to run to the grocery store last minute because we ran out of toilet paper. I don't like to run out of things. I don't like to think, oh, last minute I have to run and do things. I like to think ahead. So I'm always replenishing things and having a little bit of a backup. Not cases of things, not shelves and shelves out in my garage full of things, but there's always the next one. There's always the next bottle of shampoo ready to go. There's always the next tube of toothpaste for the kids that need it. The other day, one of them came down and says, do you have any chapstick? Yep, always have that extra thing of chapstick.
She does.
We're not having to run to the store just for one
We
thing.
have several varieties of toothbrushes for whatever particular
That's
type
because
of teeth
companies
you
have sent them to us. But
we're
my whole
prepared.
point is you quickly become a hoarder when you get freaked out and worried that we're going to run out of something. But when you already have enough in your home to last you for a few extra weeks, you won't have that panic feeling. So the whole point of being prepared is so important. And I think my mom taught that to me when I was little. Like, you always want to be prepared. You grab the next thing, you add it to the shopping list so that you're ready for it again. So
Right.
when we start to run out, like yesterday I went to Costco. Yeah, I have 3 cans of corn, but making 1 or 2 meals, that's gone next week. So I bought the next little case thing of corn, right, to keep replenish it. So when I get down to a couple, then I replenish it to make sure we have enough on
Now,
the
I
shelf.
will say sometimes the being prepared thing gets to be a point where we end up with a freezer just loaded to the gills, but then we're not eating a lot of it. We get lost in there. So we have to recycle the food a little bit.
But you're so weird. You think that, but that's not true because I do the meal planning. I go out to the freezer and I look and see what we have.
Yeah,
on
but
the meal plan.
sometimes I get a big sack of heavy frozen stuff that's going out the door.
That's because you bring home things that we don't want.
Comes back to me.
Well, go look at the freezer right now. All the weird seafood.
Did you
things.
see those coconut shrimp I got in there? I got to eat those.
What's that can of stuff you have in there?
Oh, that is an expensive can. I got a 5-pound can of pure crab meat.
Okay, so now none of us eat crab meat. So he wants to know why.
It's valuable. We got to eat it.
This is your problem. You are a keeper of things.
No, we got to figure out what to do with all that crab meat. We should do a big, Crab Louie fest
A
or
crab
something.
feed, Anyways, being prepared. So then the last one is the future of opportunity. What opportunities are there in our future? Like, what does our futures look like right now?
Right.
And really just taking the time right now to think about what is that going to look like for our family, right? Like we have kids that are home. What does that look like? So right now, one set of the couples is thinking, okay, if they can't get back to their country in the next couple of weeks, they're looking at moving into an apartment. They're looking at, well, okay, let's switch our shift. Let's shift here a little bit and think about what we could do for the summer then. So how can we spend our time wisely here in the summer, and what would that look like?
Well, now that we're coming out of quarantine, if you will, and starting to get back to a little bit of a normal life, our older kids that are married are thinking, I love you, Mom and Dad, but I don't want to live with you anymore.
Right.
I need to have my own space. And we get that.
Right. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Plus, we want our spaces all back, right? We want our lives to go back to normal as well. But we have to look, what does our future look like, right? What does my future look like here with 24/7 Moms? Will we continue to do the show? Will we continue that Facebook page or group of talking about school stuff? What will we continue to do here? What will the new needs be of moms, right? Like, what are your needs going to be coming to 3 months? Will your kids get to go back to school in the fall? I mean, there's so many things to look for in the future of what that looks like. Like we talked about our college students. What's the future opportunity for them? So what opportunities will there be if their colleges go online? Should they go ahead and register for online? Should they do something else? Should they work jobs for the fall? Like, what does that look like for everybody, the future of opportunity?
And here's the good thing. We are blessed in our current scenario of America that there is always opportunities. Now, this has been really hard on those that are making below $40,000 a year. I just read the statistic. This is kind of harrowing. That people that are making $40,000 a year or less, 39% of them are unemployed. Yeah. So this future of opportunity doesn't look that good for them. It looks a little bit bleak.
But what is it that now what they can do? Like maybe, and I'm not saying this lightheartedly, I'm saying this seriously, like our own son was laid off from our own company, right? Like we need to keep our other employees. So the easiest people to lay off are your own family, right? So when we laid him off, he can't just sit here at home. We helped him go find another job, right? I started helping him fill out applications. We started looking. He found another job. He's working full time now. He has a full-time job working. And so what is it that maybe you have to reinvent yourself? Like, what is it that you're going to have to maybe do? Right. Instead of thinking, well, I'm just going to wait it out. Well, don't sit and wait it out. Start thinking now. Be proactive in it instead of reactive.
And like we're fortunate for those that live in Western countries or countries that have a free society. Nobody's telling you can't do your job. Right. You just can't do your job right now. So go do another job, right? Figure it out. Right. Everything is figure-outable. Yeah. And I like that phrase.
And we don't say that lightly. We totally get it. That some of you have huge jobs and you're furloughed or you're at home right now waiting to go back to work. We totally get that. But I'm talking about the fact that is there other ways? We have some friends and he does school assemblies. Well, as soon as school shut down, guess what? So did his job, right? Yeah. Immediately, he went to the local grocery store and became a checker. Immediately. And his kids are raised, and that's humbling. Like, you're going to go... But he's not going to sit around and wait for someone to pay, figure out how he's going to get food on the table. He's going to go figure it out. And so what I'm saying is right now, figure it out because there are jobs out there right now. There might not be jobs in 3 or 4 months when everybody else starts looking for more jobs, but it's really important to start thinking, or how can you start an at-home business? What can you do? What skill set do you have that you could offer right now during this? What's your future opportunity?
This is your opportunity to think out of the box. You have permission. Yeah. You have permission to do something different than you've never done before and to try new ideas and just to get it figured out. I mean, we live in an entrepreneurial world because that's our life. We run different companies. So for us, a pivot is not as traumatic as it would be for somebody else. But like, for instance, my home community, my city where I do a lot of work in Tacoma, is they laid off 400 workers. Well, those people are used to every day, same place, same thing. That it's very traumatic for them. So I recognize that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't. But here's the point. It's happened. You lost your work. Go figure it out. And use your friends, use your resources, right? Reach out to whoever you need to get this thing figured out.
Because there are future opportunities. And I think we just want to encourage you that there is going to be future opportunity for you. It's not over. And so to really just stop and think, what is it that you could do? What could you do with this time? How could you reinvent yourself if you have to? Or maybe you can just wait it out and your job's going to come back and that's all going to be great. And great, that's perfect. But for those that are needing to seek outside things, start thinking outside the box. So we just want to share with you some of the lessons that we learned today. So it's not about you. Date nights can be different. We get to do this attitude. How it's important to be flexible and adaptable during this time, that it's okay to ask for help. We as moms need to learn that big time, that being prepared is key, and there is future opportunity out there.
There's hope, and we believe in you. We know that if we can do it, you can do it. Right. And I don't mean that lightly. I mean that seriously, that we're on your team, and we're here to support you.
So I just want to say thanks for joining us here at Mommin Daily. I love having this guy on. I try to get him on once a week.
So nice.
I know. Once a week, I at least try to pull him in. Man. And it's Memorial Day weekend coming up, and so we are taking a few days off. So I won't be back here again till next Tuesday. So we will see you next Tuesday for another edition of Mommin Daily. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.
Take care.